Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest special edition video. I promised I was going to do just a few more. Just came back from Vegas on my trip. I got a whole bunch of pictures that I'm going to share for you. And so I'm going to make two special edition videos about my trip. One is dedicated to my Ghosts and Spirits channel, and then the other one is dedicated to my new Aliens and UFOs channel. The first one that I'm going to do here with the Ghosts and Spirits has to do with my own impromptu ghost tour of sorts. I tried to visit several locations that were near and around the area that I was at there, particularly on the strip, based on information that I saw online, to try to see if I could see anything, feel anything, take pictures of anything, and then that way I could share it with you here. It was a little bit lackluster in the sense that there are some areas that you just can't take pictures of because of where they're located, and I'll explain that here in a minute. And then there's other areas, they are just so humongous that I didn't even get a chance to walk into them because I had no idea where the stuff would be located. And then on top of that, my time schedule is already a little tight. So I'll highlight that here in a minute. Be on the lookout though for another video before the end of the week, which is my actual Area 51 tour that I took there in Las Vegas. So that one again dedicated to my aliens and UFOs. But this one first, let's talk about the ghosts and spirits. What I did was I went ahead and I looked up online various locations that are known, the casinos that are known to have hotspots, especially stuff generated towards ghosts or known locations of apparitions, noises, people feeling things, that kind of stuff. And so, using that as a guideline of sorts, I visited several locations. And then the first one that I visited is this one, the Luxor. Obviously, one of the most famous landmarks there in Las Vegas. It has probably the most distinctive look. All the other hotels kind of look the same in some way. This one, by far, is 100% its own creation. I mean, it stands out every which way. So I decided to visit that one first. Here's the curious thing though, with any of these visits that I'm about to talk about, it's a little strange if you're just walking around on your own, especially if you try going to like cordoned off areas or hotel room areas, because the thing about Las Vegas is obviously they've got cameras left and right. Your stuff is being tracked and monitored if you look suspicious. And if you're by yourself, just walking around on your own, and you're not really taking too many pictures or doing the usual stuff associated with visiting a casino, then you'll clearly stand out. So I was kind of mindful of where I was going because I didn't want to have all of a sudden like security, someone just come up and ask to see what I was doing. At the same time, I didn't want to attract attention, so that's why I couldn't take too many pictures with this tour. But the first stop that I did again was the Luxor. I visited this area here. This one, there's a story that's tied to Las Vegas, the Luxor building, having to do with a suicide, and I've included the link below in my section here because I've done a story on it on one of the urban legends. And somewhere around this area within the Luxor, there was a lady who apparently jumped to her death. She jumped from one of the top floor levels. I believe it was somewhere either on the 19th, 20th, or 21st floor, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, she just was tired of her life. Apparently, she had found out she had some kind of disease. I had heard that apparently it was HIV or some other type of terminal disease. Besides like cancer related, I don't know, but it was something where she basically thought to herself, that's it, her life was up. She thought it was terminal, she thought she had to go, and so she went up to one of those floors that you're looking at the picture of here, and then just jumped. And then she landed, presumably based on the location, somewhere near the center, which would be, ironically enough, near this, which you're looking at, which is the actual statue here. And around that time, this was actually a buffet of sorts. This was where the buffet was located. It was on the second floor, if I'm not mistaken. Now, it's more along the lines of a food court mixed with some of the shows that are there. But she would have landed somewhere here, and apparently it was a big hoopla because what had happened was when they found out that she was doing this because of her disease. The whole entire area was closed off immediately. We're talking for a long time. It was sanitized left and right to make sure that nothing was 100, that contaminated, that everything was scot free, and then basically everything was torn down and then rebuilt from scratch, I think, to what you see now. So the buffet at Luxor is now actually located somewhere else. I believe it's on the bottom floor, the very, very bottom floor, actually underneath the casino itself. So quite a bit of change, but that's at least one reported location. I went up straight to the top, to about the 19th or 20th floor there, which you're looking at a picture of here. And the reason why I went there is because there's another purported haunted location there in the Luxor on the 19th floor that's actually separate from the suicide, or it could be related to the suicide itself. I don't know. But apparently I think the room number is room number 19204, which is through this hallway. There's something that's inside that room that apparently freaks out guests. There's even someone that posted a review of it on TripAdvisor. Check it out when you have a chance. In fact, I'll just go ahead and include the link below, but apparently there's some kind of weird entity in that room. Some lady said that when she walked in, all of a sudden she saw like this woman scrounging through her clothes, and it shrieked back at her, and obviously the woman just freaked out and just ran out of there. But what led to it was like her son changing a different personality, changing to a different person, acting weird, and it finally led to that apparition that was there. I didn't see anything, I didn't feel anything. It was just no different than walking into any other floor, but at least I was able to take a picture of the hallway. I tried to take a picture of the room, but unfortunately, as timing would have it, there was a cleaning lady right there in that hallway that came out just as I was trying to walk towards the room. And obviously it would look a little weird if I was just taking a picture of the room door itself, so I didn't want to necessarily cause her alarm, so I decided to leave at that point. But that is the second thing. And then one more thing briefly with the Luxor. Purportedly, it's haunted by two ghosts of some sort from construction workers. Apparently, there were two deaths associated with the Luxor when it was first being built, and they still apparently roam that area itself. I don't know. I tried to see like where their deaths were exactly, like which area of the Luxor, but I couldn't find the information, so it's still pretty general. But if anyone has more info on that, please check it out. But otherwise, check out those links too. The one that I have here for my own video dedicated to the urban legend of the lady that jumped there inside the Luxor, and then also the reviewer of that room 19204. Now let's go to the next location I went to. I only took one picture of it because I didn't really step inside because I didn't need to. It's of the Tropicana. This is the exterior shot. Apparently there was a ghost-like statue of some sort that was a tiki mask that used to be outside the Tropicana entrance. This is the only entrance that I know of, so that's why I didn't go to any other location. I tried to find that tiki mask, but no such luck. Apparently, it turns out that the tiki mask has been gone for quite some time. I think almost a decade or of sorts. The mask itself was real, but what people said was if you walked up to the mask and you tried to take a picture of it, then when you did so, there would be like these strange apparitions, ghostly images, whatever there was stuff that would just appear on the camera itself without yourself seeing it obviously beforehand. And then on top of that, people said that if you going up to the mask and you touched it, you would develop a crazy rash of some sort. There was something just weird about that mask, and I don't know if it just gained its own cult following or if it just grew too freaky, but the mask is no longer there, obviously. And I would imagine, if you're looking at this picture now, that it was probably towards the right-hand side because that's where people first walked in. And there is still some remnants of stuff, like inside the actual Tropicana there, once you go through those glass doors, there's a lot of like bamboo-like trees, and I would imagine that that's where the tiki mask would have been, because it seems like those remnants were still part of it. So, alas, no pictures there, nothing I felt, nothing else stands out, but at least I tried to visit it, so. Next, I walked up more up north. I went pretty far. I went all the way to as far as I could, and I stopped by what used to be the old location of the MGM Grand, which is now called Bally's Hotel. Here's the exterior shot of the Bally's location. This has probably the most infamous, worst tragedy ever in Las Vegas. There was a huge fire that apparently took there at the MGM, at the Grand, as what it was called back then, and it claimed over 100 people, if I'm not mistaken. This was one of the worst fires ever, if not the entire U.S. history, because of the casino itself and the way it was built and what it was lacking at that time. The people were basically trapped, and because it happened so much at night and it spread so quickly, it affected so many of the hotel members there, the people that were just sleeping, and that's why it claimed so many lives. But people report that if you go there to this day, and then I stepped inside and you're looking at a picture of the inside here, you'll feel stuff, like you'll feel like there's someone watching you when there clearly isn't. And it's not the usual like security, like cameras watching you or anything. Like, no, like there's somebody really close to you, right there with you. People apparently also see like wisps of things. They see apparitions of sorts, and they feel people, like a draft of some sort, going through them. Apparently these are all these poor souls, the 100+ people that died within that fire, that are still trapped there as well. When the place burned down, it was rebuilt into what you see today, the Bally's. So I tried to walk around. This is a picture of the hallway that was leading to the place itself. I tried to see if anything stood out. Nothing really stood out. But I could just imagine like several decades back, this fire at this time, it would have engulfed everything that you're seeing. It was a pretty bad fire. Now, finally, I took a last picture there, which was of the new hotel rooms, which you're looking at here. I couldn't go in there because I don't know if it was pretty restrictive. Some hotels, some casinos, in order to get in, you have to actually show a key card in order to even get to the elevators. Kind of like where I'm at the Excalibur, where I usually stay. There's usually a security guard there, and what happens is whenever you're walking into the elevator, the security guard just asks to see your card. He wants to make sure that you're a room holder of sorts, and so I would imagine it's the same here. That's why I didn't even attempt it at that point. But that is the Bally's location, one of the most infamous locations for hauntings as well. The next area I tried to stop at is the Caesars Hotel. What's neat about the Caesars Hotel, I've never been there before. This is literally the first time, the Caesars Palace, that I went to try to see it, and I did not realize how humongous this place is. The picture that you see here, this is just one of the hotels. It has like several. I think I counted either 3 or 4. And if you look at this picture here, you'll see that it's basically its own tiny city of sorts, because this picture does not do it justice. This picture showcases there's like a small area which is like the main focal point, and then towards the distance you'll see the other hotels towards the very far distance that are still associated with Caesars. It is a humongous, absolutely gigantic place, by far the biggest place I've seen in Vegas. I didn't even attempt to go and try to find where this haunted place was, because this is the first time I was there, and seeing how far things extended to the distance, it would take me probably an hour or two just to find the place, because there were no signs pointing anywhere directly. All it was just acres and acres of shops and then hotels, and so it was crazy. And again, I was pretty short pressed on time, so with regards to that, I just thought to myself, I'll have to visit this sometime later. But here's the lore that's associated with the Caesar Palace. Apparently, if you're there and you visit an escalator down by a section there called the Forum Casino, if you go to the bathrooms that's right there by that escalator, then you can encounter some paranormal activity of sorts, because apparently the water faucets there, I don't know if they're electronic, I don't know if they're manual. It'd be a lot scarier if they're manual, because apparently those water faucets turn off and on their own. And if you try to put your hands underneath the water whenever it's running, then it turns off. Like almost like something right there in the bathroom knows that you're there and it's playing a little game with you. You're trying to wash your hands and then it turns off whenever your hands go near it, and then it turns back on apparently whenever you go away from it. So I tried to see where this Forum Casino would be, because it would be a tiny section within this giant megalith of whatever this thing is. That's the Caesar's Palace Hotel. It's so gigantic. Again, this picture doesn't no justice at all. But next time I'm there, I'm gonna try to find it. If anyone has any more info about that knows that experience, that would be fantastic to hear. So that's great stuff. The next place that I visited, I couldn't really again go inside because apparently you need a key card of sorts, is Planet Hollywood. I've been there actually before many times because it's one of the places that I go to so often for the shows. Great shows that they have there. Great comedy, great series of magic shows. It's fantastic stuff. And apparently if you go there used to be a location, that location there has gone through many iterations, and there used to be a location there called the Aladdin Hotel. And the idea is that if you go there, and if you go towards the very no, or near the top, near the seventh floor. That's why I took a picture of the outside, as you'll see here. If you go to the seventh floor and you go to the panorama suite, then you can hear like a key, like in the door, like someone is trying to enter the door when you see no one is there. So if you're walking down that hallway of whatever that suite is, and you hear the normal distinction of a key card trying to go in or out, or you hear like a drawer trying to jiggle open but it's not working, then that's what's happening. And then another scarier thing is apparently people report that if you go down that hallway, then you'll hear quiet whispering as if somebody is having a conversation of sorts there in the hallway on the seventh floor, but obviously you don't see anything there. And on top of that, people feel that presence, like they're being watched, like they're seeing like something is watching them back, but they obviously can't see what's occurring. So unfortunately, again, I couldn't go inside. I wish it was like these hauntings were instead like on the main casino area, because those you could visit all day long. But at least it gives you an idea if you ever stay within the Planet Hollywood, and if you want to be brave enough, go down that seventh floor, see if you can see or hear anything as well. The last place that I visited, well, actually, one last thing before I visit the last location. This one you're looking at, the Bellagio. This one was fascinating. This one is it was at the time whenever they had their famous what do you call it, the fountains that are there. And so what the fountains were playing, and so I was able to take some pictures. This is one of those that were playing Christmas music at the time, and so the picture that I took of happened to capture one of those tunes hitting the right note when the fountains were going up. But I didn't go in there because, if I'm not mistaken, I think at that day that I was at, that was the presidential debate, not the debate, but like the Republican debate, and so I don't think I would have had any chance of going anywhere there. It was either the Bellagio or the Venetian. I couldn't tell which one it was, but I think it was the Bellagio. That's where there was being held at. And so on that specific day of all the luck, when I tried to visit, there was no chance I was going to be able to get around without again looking suspicious. That's the thing again that I was mentioning earlier. You can walk around the casino, you can do your normal things, but if you start to suddenly do things that are outside the ordinary, then you'll clearly get the attention of security, and all those cameras will follow you around, and then finally, when they feel the time is right, then you'll actually be visited. And so I don't want to do anything like that to alarm them, so I didn't even bother going to the Bellagio. But here's the story. Apparently, if you go to the Bellagio and you go and visit there, you'll inadvertently, so anywhere around the hotel, you start to feel cold spots, especially throughout what's called the main tower, and then also sometimes in the casino. And then on top of that, again having to do with the hotel rooms itself, if you visit the very top floor of the hotel, you can sometimes see a blue glow somewhere in the hallways. I don't know where, but people reported seeing that blue glow there. And then also, again, quite similarly, you start to hear voices as if someone is having a conversation, but you can't see them. And no, these voices are not like in the actual rooms themselves, like somewhere in the hallway. No, these are like voices at the actual hallway rather than inside the rooms. It's a clear difference between the two, if you know what I mean. And so that's where the activity also seems to be reported. Beautiful hotel, looks very nice outside. So it's if it's one of those things where if I have a chance next time, I'll try to visit on the inside and see if I can capture anything. And then finally, last hotel I visited, my own, the place I usually stay at, the Excalibur. It only has one reported haunting, but this is the best news. I think I actually captured something related to it. So, here's the haunting itself. If you go to the Excalibur and you go to Tower 1, which is now called the Royal Resort, the Royal Tower. It used to be Tower 1 and Tower 2, but now they call Tower 1 the Royal Tower, and then Tower 2 I believe is called the Resort Tower. I usually stay in Tower 1, or what is now called the Royal Tower, because it's the cheaper one of the two. But the story goes, if you go there and you go into the 10th floor and then you walk down the hallways, there's two of them. It'll arch into a Y, so there's two hallways. Then you'll start to feel someone is behind you, like literally behind you, like hovering right behind you, like an inch away from you. And then if you're fortunate enough, I guess the key word is, then you'll actually hear a whisper directly in your ear, as if again they're only about 1 inch away from you. So I went there and I went to the 10th floor. I went to the right tower, and then I did it. I started walking straight down, and then I went to the other side, and then I walked straight down, and then walked back. Didn't feel anything, didn't sense anything, but still, towards the end of each walk, I took a picture. And then check out this picture. What's key, nothing really stands out. This one, there's nothing there. It's 100% just nothing. It's just your standard hallway. But then I took this other picture on the other hallway, and I was looking at it later on, and I don't know, I could be 100% wrong on this. That could be something where it's right. I don't know. It's up to you to decide. Nothing really stands out on that picture too, but I kind of zoomed in and then I highlighted something, and I don't know what those are. They were not there when I took the pictures. I don't know what those little white dots are, if those are, you know, flecks of dust or whatever, but nothing was there when I was visiting, and the location and nothing stood out in the photograph. Those could be pieces of paper on the floor, but it would be kind of weird because pieces of paper would be on the wall as well, two locations on the wall, rather than just on the floor itself. So I don't know. I don't know if I captured something or if it was just my camera playing wonky things. It's up to you to decide, but I did not feel anything. I did not see anything. I did not sense anything. I did not hear anything. Only after I took this picture, then I saw this. So it's about the closest that I have to any kind of experience. So that's the news that I have with the Excalibur. So if you have a chance later on and when you wanted to do the same, again, go to the Excalibur Hotel, go to Tower 1, which is now called Royal Tower, go to the 10th floor, and then do this. Although, again, you do have to show the card, like I did, because I actually was there. And when you do so, then you can get access to the floors themselves. So, but that's it. That's my little mini amateur ghost tour of sorts. Still many, many places that I wish I could have visited, even outside of the ones that I talked about here, but unfortunately, too little time, and those places are too far away. But as always, it's ready for another trip later on to see how things go. So, what do you guys think? If you have any more information that you'd like to present, that'd be great to hear. So, all right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.